criticism for. However, he still got second in the league after everything that we said. He still got second in the league.
He hasn't got second in the league. Stop saying that, Staffy.
He's second. Am I lying?
The season's not finished. The season's not finished, Staffy. Stop saying that.
And it's not even second right now. Am I making up a position?
Yeah, has he? You keep saying he's finished second. He hasn't finished second.
The bigger picture here, right? The bigger picture here is the teams around him, right? For example, like they finished 26 points above Chelsea last season. Right now, it's actually plausible that we could finish above them.
Exactly. Right? He regressed. I agree with you. I said he regressed.
Backwards. So whether you want to look at the fact that they finished second, when you go look at how far they are from Liverpool, a team that no one predicted to win the league, by the way, right? Only a few people might have predicted that, but I predicted Arsenal and Man City to win the league, right? They've gone backwards. They got knocked out, against United and Newcastle. I think a lot of people like the recruitment as well. They like to use this example of the Champions League. Hold on,
I blame the recruitment as well. That let's not only put it on Arteta. These guys finished second, and they give them a summer of Raheem Sterling, Calafiori, and God, I don't even remember who else.
He's part of that. He's part of that stuff. He's the one. He's the one that decided. Hold on. He's the one that decided to go into the season with the smallest squad in the league. He's the one that decided not to.
You're telling me you didn't want to strike it in the summer.
In the summer, bro. Listen, he had the peak. Yeah, he signed Havertz. You know what I mean? He did he not sign
Havertz 2 years ago, and he deserves smoke for that. I think, by the way, I think the biggest mistake Arteta's ever done at his time at Arsenal was wasting that 65 million on Havertz, because he signed him to play in the midfield, and when he failed in the midfield, he put him in striker. And when he put him in striker and he starts scoring goals, the summer after they said, you know what, fuck it, now we're gonna not sign a striker then. That is on him. I'm not saying that. But let's not pretend that the recruitment that they did in the summer is a respectable recruitment. Because if that was your team and you got Sterling, Calafiori, who was the third sign? I can't even remember. Marino. You'd laugh at it.
Hold on, Lewis. Yeah, because I haven't really spoken much on this, right? It sounds to me like you're trying to shift blame away from Arteta.
No, I'm sharing the blame.
You're sharing blame, but he's part, like Lewis is saying, Lewis is right. He is part of that problem, bro, right? He has spent more money on defenders than he has attackers, right? And I've spoken to you about this before. I've said, going forward for me, what's going to show me what the style of play he wants going forward, this summer especially, is the type of players he brings in. If I don't see this guy bringing an attacking midfielder, right, a left winger that's better than Martinelli, a striker, then I know it's on a joke thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I've told you already about their midfield. They're yet to replace Granit Xhaka. People love Rice. They think Rice is doing well in that 8, but I'll be real. I saw Xhaka performing better than this guy, bro. All-round game in that position, he was better than Rice. Yeah,
last season at Arsenal, he was brilliant.
He was very good. I saw his progressive passes this season. He's in like the top 4 progressive passes, bro. Yeah, Arsenal right now, in terms of their midfield, they progress their midfield at the same level as West Ham. And if you listen to any West Ham fans, including Lawless, they will tell you how shocking their midfield is, bro. That's how bad they are in there in terms of progressing play, in terms of creativity. Most of their creativity comes from the wings. Even the other day against PSG, it was mainly Saka that was trying to make something happen. It was mainly Martinelli that was making something happen. I barely ever see Rice make a little smart pass through the middle. I barely ever see Odegaard make a little smart pass through the middle, right? And for me, if I was Arteta now, what I would do, I would actually change the system. I would go to a 4-2-3-1. I would play Rice in a double pivot, which I think is his best position, right? People think I hate Declan Rice. I'm a troll. That's number one, right? What it is, I don't like Rice as an 8. I think he's being wasted in that position. I think you can get more out of this guy in a double pivot and you play a 10, right? You can still have the person next to Rice pressing up off the ball when you're playing against a low block, right? And then you get better attackers. You bring in a striker, you bring in a winger. But now he needs to release the shackles, bro. He needs to release the shackles.
I don't disagree with you, but I have to remind you with everything you just said.
This team right now, bro, has 6 foot plus players. It's got good fullbacks. It's got good defense. It's got Declan Rice, who we know his biggest strength is his destroying, right? People can delude themselves and say, oh, he's learning a new role and that. We know Declan Rice to be a destroyer. No one looked at Declan Rice to be putting up numbers for the team, yeah? He's doing great at that job. Cool. He's put up a few numbers in that. Set pieces, great. All of that, right? But when you talk about Declan Rice, his bread and butter is destroying play. And for me, I feel like a different manager would potentially use this guy differently. I don't think they would use him as an 8. You know what I mean? And for me, that's been a big reason why their midfield's gone quite stale. It might sound weird to people, but I'm telling you, bro, when I was watching Granit Xhaka in that season, when they competed the first year, they were so fluid in the midfield, bro. They were so fluid, and it hurt me as a Chelsea fan even, yeah, to like big them up. I was praising them. I had so many Chelsea fans saying, oh, it's just a fluke. they're going to fall off. I said, bro, these lot absolutely bopped us in pre-season, Staffy. They absolutely bopped us, bro, right? You know, last season as well, bro, second half of the season, they were playing some great football, real good football. You know what I mean? So for me, I think it's the style. I think that the biggest problem right now is with Arsenal is the style. He needs to bring that spark back into the team with the system as well as the personnel that he brings in, bro.
Viewers, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions on that debate that's gone through there. We've got a couple of comments that came in.
Hold on. Before you even say anything, Xhaka is a better 8 than Rice. That's not even a debate for me. Xhaka's a better 8 than Rice.
This here from Joshua, he says Arteta is on track to have a worse season than Ollie's third in his second season, I think you mean. Yeah. And Ten Hag's first season in points total. Stop making excuses.
What excuse did I make? I'm analyzing what I've seen in the season, and I'm saying,
Staffy, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. You can't analyze. You just have to say these words. Arteta was shit. He should never manage again, and he should be sent to the gulag. It's basically what people want. I look at it this way. It's a lot of this argument comes down to people wanting to say they were right all along. Where what's hilarious is there's an Arteta outer who was like, I thought he tweeted something the other day like I was right all along, and he got cooked. He deleted the tweet. I don't remember the guy's name. He's from AFTV because they were like, bruv, it was only like this time last year you were like, I was fully wrong about Arteta. I'm behind him now because of like being in league title races. He got cooked for it. And that's half the issue with a lot of this. And I think what Joshua, and you're entitled to think you're never going to get over the line with him. And it's a very fair opinion. There are some people that can also look at Arteta and go, he's made mistakes this year. We've bought some poor players. It's also fair to go, they had some bad injuries as well this season. And there are some Arsenal fans and rivals and pundits who go, but I think with a good summer and a little bit more fortune in their favour next year, which all teams need at times, all teams need a little bit of fortune every now and then. There's a lot of people that believe Arteta can get them over the line still. And it's not an excuse thing. It's how you see it. It's your analysing of the situation. What is wrong is what Gal's done. No problems at the club are to do with Arteta. That is wrong. That is completely and utterly wrong. The idea, though, that what I think is ridiculous about this whole debate, not the one on here in general, is I think the players are getting off scot-free here. I got a lot of abuse these last 2 or 3 days for just looking at I was looking at the semi-final and Champions League in isolation, and what I was saying about it is what has shown me is that Arsenal are a very good team, but to get to that level, potentially a new manager, yes, I said that, but put that aside. They need better than Odegaard. They need better than Martinelli. They need better than all the strikers they've got as an example, plus some other positions. That's what it's shown. It's shown that this very good Arsenal team that Arsenal fans were hoping could rise to that level. I think the last 3 seasons, the title races and the Champions League run have shown that you need to upgrade on certain individuals. And again, I also think if you believe that putting pressure on the club to sack Arteta is good for your club, that's why these fans do it. You can't ignore the fundamental need to improve these players as well. And I think balanced conversations are needed within the Arsenal fan base. So Josh,
I have a suggestion, by the way. I know you want to move on with the super chats, but I have a suggestion. And I'm going to say this to prove a point. A lot of people want to replace Arteta, and that's fine. But they're always not going to offer, and this is not me, not talking about you, Lawless. I'm talking about Arsenal fans. They won't give you an alternative, okay? I have as an example, if you ask me personally, I'm not an Arsenal fan. Who would you like to replace the manager with? I like I like a manager who, if I say his name right now, most of you guys are not even gonna know him. Maybe only Don because he likes that little weird research that he always does. But German manager, do you know Matthijs Dijssel, who coaches at Al Ahly in the Saudi league? You probably don't know him. He just won. So the reason I'm gonna use this as an example, this guy coached Salzburg. All right, he went through all the ranks with Salzburg. He was an assistant under 18. And then he coached the first team and won a few leagues with them. And then he ended up in the Saudi league. He took over Al Ahly. They came up, by the way, they got relegated. He took over, I think, a year and a half or a year after they got promoted. So not directly when they got promoted, a year later. 2 years later now, so he took over in 2023. 2 years later, he managed to win him the Asian Champions League. 2 years later. All right. So he took over a team that got relegated 4 years ago. 4 years later, after he takes over, they win the Asian Champions League. A lot of people would turn their nose on him. They'll say, oh, but it's a farmers league. But equally, when we sit here and we question people, okay, name replacements, they're only going to want upgrades from here. And there's not a lot of upgrades in this world right now that are attainable that come in and replace Arteta. So you tell me right now, if I ask the chat, how many of you guys would take a coach right now who's managing in the Saudi League? By the way, the only reason I said his name is because they pre-agreed that he's gonna get released in the summer, so he's out of contract. They're not renewing him, and then he ended up winning the Champions League. How many people are taking him?
You're telling me that the manager that comes in that's a little bit more wants to be a little bit more attacking isn't going to tell Saka to stay up like what Slot did with Salah. Isn't going to tell Martinelli to stay up. Isn't going to bring Rice a little bit further back to help the transition.
He could. That's not the point I'm arguing. These guys are gonna snub. They're gonna turn their nose on most of these managers. I've heard Spurs fans saying we don't want Areola, and this is the manager who's doing it in the Premier League. Yeah, but tell me who's attainable. That's better than Arteta. That's people will accept.
Yeah, but some of them have fair enough reasons though, because like with Areola, that style of play.
Iraola, by the way. Areola's our goalkeeper, by the way. You ain't getting our goalkeeper.
What's my name again?
Iraola,
and
Areola, yeah. Anyway. With Areola, like with Spurs fans, especially like me and Jules have spoken about this before. Jules doesn't want him because he feels like the injury problem at Spurs won't go away with him because of the intensified football he wants to play. Right? It's not because they're looking at him and say we need better than that. Some of these guys are like, bro, I've got PTSD by the injuries. That's why I don't want this guy. But in terms of him as a coach, I think he's a good coach.
Don, my point is that some of these Arsenal fans won't take an unknown coach. That is what I'm trying to tell you.
But again, Staffy, they're not the ones choosing. So, like I said,
these are the people that we talk to every day.
Terry, quickly, I need to ask Terry this question. I've been dying to ask him this question. Quick question. Terry, do you think it's hypocritical to call me out for not on the spot, again, because I can come up with, I can sit there and look at names and see who's available, but not on the spot coming up with a replacement for Arteta, and not Staffy being called out for not coming up with a replacement for his own club.
Oh my God! I already told you.
This is manager. It's different. Wait, no, Staffy. You gave your explanation. I think that's fine. You told us why. I don't agree with your justification. At the end of the day, you did not want to provide a alternative for Ten Hag. So Terry, I want to know
how bad he was.
From Terry, yes, but it doesn't matter how bad he was. He just won you an FA Cup. He just won you 2 trophies back to back.
Oh, fuck off with these trophies.
No, I'm not saying you should again, bro. I'm
saying trophies you guys call Mickey Mouse cups anyways.
Your name's Terry. You gave your justification.
Because
that's
you're
fine.
waffling,
I don't agree with it.
It is so easy to replace a manager who finished 8th rather than a manager who keeps finishing second every year and reaches the semi-final of the Champions League.
I'm not saying they're the same quality. I'm asking Terry.
I'll answer the question. So first of all, I don't think it's about you're not being put on the spot to provide a solution. You clearly must be thinking about what you think Arsenal need to do because you prep for these shows like we all do. So I think you should have an idea in your mind.
You didn't ask me I didn't know you was going to ask should he be sacked, but
I thought it was obvious, but fair enough, fair dues. So I don't think it's an on the spot thing if it's something you believe in, because I don't know about you. When I sit there thinking about what I want my club to do or what I think a club should do, I think it through to solution. Is it hypocritical? No. And I'll tell you as to why. This happens a lot in the social media football space, is we just think every situation is the same. We always want to, I get called a hypocrite sometimes, not because I see 2 identical situations and want different outcomes, but because I see a situation different from the person accusing me, and they go, that's hypocritical. And no, me disagreeing with you is not hypocrisy in itself. Your mind. Man United were in a situation under Ten Hag where we needed to start restructuring this club. We needed to pick a start. For me, it was about picking a brand of football and sticking to it. We didn't have one. So I would also say at the time, I don't mind who. I wasn't I gave suggestions, but I wasn't married to any one, because for me, it was about picking a base way of playing and building a squad. However,
you just contradicted yourself massively because what you said to me was this show's all about giving our opinions, and you want my opinion.
Yes. I haven't contradicted myself. I'm going to get to exactly why it's not a contradiction in a second, because Man United don't have a squad that's built for a set way of playing. We're broken. So for us, I wasn't married to any one way of playing football. I didn't care how we wanted to go. We had to pick a manager. I had candidates I liked, but I wasn't married to the idea. We went with Ruben Amorim. Now, though, we're trying to build a squad for him. And if we for the next 2, 3, 4 years, we build a squad that is suited to playing a particular way, 3 at the back, lots of fullbacks, lots of 10s, number 9s that are really good by themselves, 2 holding midfield players and everything else. If we build a squad for that, if I then go, right, Amorim's got to go for whatever reason, I will then do my research and think about who are the managers who are best suited to take over this style of football and these types of players. That is what we're talking about, a different situation. So I don't believe it is a. I don't believe it is a. No. But it's a different situation. I don't. No, the reason when it's the same situation is in 3 or 4 years' time when Man United's squad has been practically built and needs a few improvements. A manager has set a style of play in. If you're going now, who would you replace him with? And because I want him sacked, then I should be thinking about it. The reason why when Man United were getting rid of Ten Hag, I didn't marry myself to any particular coaches. I wasn't overly bothered because it wasn't like we had a squad that was built for a particular style of football that had been playing in a particular way. It was broken. Man United, when we sacked Ten Hag, are not in the same circumstance that Arsenal are now when you're suggesting they should sack Arteta. So therefore... No, it's not a reach. You can't judge every. It's not. Again, you may think it is, but I'm giving you my reason. There are differences in those scenarios, which is why my response was different. That's normal. Very normal. That
wasn't your response. I think you may have spoke about alternatives, right? This isn't on you. I'm saying it's hypocritical when Staffy said it to not call Staffy out, right? So what I'm saying is, and Staffy thinks I should have given alternative as well. So what I'm saying is, if we're all here to give opinions,
ask for your opinion.
Just because you say
he's so rattled to ask for his opinion.
No, I'm saying you could have said
what we're getting in.
What I'm saying is it's how it is. So you could have said De Zerbi, Staffy, right? Just because you say De Zerbi doesn't mean you're getting De Zerbi. You want Ten Hag out. Oh, Staffy, who do you want?
Brother, I was ready to take McKenna, and people didn't listen to me.
We're here to give opinions. People want your opinion.
I remember.
So what you get so mad when I asked for your opinion? I gave so many opinions over here. I said I didn't want De Zerbi. I said I would take McKenna. I said I would much rather Simeone, but we weren't going to get him out of his contract.
I remember it.
That was a lot more. I gave so many opinions, and now I'm being accused of not having alternatives.
I don't remember Staffy. I don't remember Staffy not giving suggestions of who should take over. The difference is, man. And it's funny, we got a comment. It says Terry backs Amorim even though he doesn't suit the squad. Well, no manager suits Man United squad because it's an incomplete, imbalanced squad. No manager would come in and completely and utterly suit it. Maybe Sam Allardyce. The thing is so it takes time to build that squad out. And that is why Man United fans, some people had a manager they wanted and they wanted to build in that image, which is fair. But when you've built a squad, you have to try and pick managers that are best suited to it, surely. Because I don't think if you had a team that played on the front foot the way Klopp did, I don't think picking a renowned, dogmatic, low block style manager would necessarily be the best way to move forward. And I'm creating a big dichotomy in that conversation. But we have to stop doing this as football fans and treating the situation at Chelsea this summer just gone is the same as Man United, the same as Arsenal, the same as Manchester City's. It works in reverse as well. There should be much more scrutiny on, like, Mikel Arteta coming. If he ends up dropping the 3rd or 4th this year, could in some people's eyes be looked as far more unsuccessful than Chelsea, even though they're in a higher position because the expectations were different. All these things work, but we pick and choose scenarios and contexts and situations when it serves our purpose. But we have to stop this monolithic approach all the time. We've got to treat every situation the same and expect the answers to different equations to be the same. It doesn't make sense to me personally. It really doesn't. Look, guys, we were going to talk Chelsea, but we ran out of time. Don's got to go.
We can briefly speak about it.
We did talk about. We talked about the final when we said.
We did.